Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Silver Fox here. Hey, today I'm gonna tell you how I researched buying our used car that we've had for a year, and this also ties in perfectly because recently we needed to buy a new engine, and in doing so, it was about 6 or 7 grand, and I wanted to see how much used cars were and if we should just buy another used one or invest more money into the one that we have. And so I will add a tab actually to show you another site here before I forget. But I think the best place to find used cars and to get like good pricing is Facebook Marketplace, and I just typed in Honda Odyssey. And I'm not going to go into like my specific area and sort it by price and everything, but I will tell you that the two best things to do is to basically search based off of the brand. So we needed a minivan, and Honda and Toyota were the best. Toyotas were a little bit more expensive. And then you also have to buy one within your range. And I don't suggest anybody buying a car off of credit, but if you do, you have to do what you have to do. But so basically, what I encountered was for Honda Odyssey, I did some legwork on what the best years were that also fit into my price range. And so our price range was under 9 grand. And the Honda minivans, you'll see a lot of them for sale that are below like 2010, I noticed. And those are the ones that have a lot of transmission engine problems. And ironically enough, mine had, so 2012, it had an engine issue, but that was due to poor maintenance on the previous owner, not so much the engine itself. They were supposed to do a full timing belt kit and just ended up changing the belt to be cheap, and a metal piece broke, a tensioner, and broke the whole engine. So anyways, if you want to hear that story, you can go on my page, and there's a 3-part series on it. But let's get back into it. You'll notice a lot of the most affordable minivans are going to be like, and I don't know how accurate this is. It's coming out of California, and there's a lot of like cheap cars that are posted in multiple cities, and they're basically like scam ads. And so I don't know how accurate these are. But if it's a really cheap car and there's only 1 or 2 photos and it's very like copy and paste looking, it could be a scam. And so let's look at this one here. My first thing I'll tell you is let's see if it's a scam or not if we're looking on Facebook. I'm going to say with the photos and them listing 2 owners, I'm going to say it's probably not a scam. And the best way to figure that out is if you go, and usually it's either poor writing or it says like, always had an oil change, always had maintenance done, always stored in a garage kind of thing. And I don't think I can see it because I'm not logged into Facebook, but basically click on the profile of the seller, and there you can see their other items. If it's a scammer, it's going to have the same car for like Austin, Texas, Denver, Colorado, Salt Lake City, Utah, that kind of thing. So that's how you figure out it's a scam. Also, be on the lookout for people who clear engine codes. And how you can figure that out is take it to a reputable mechanic, or we took ours to the Honda dealership to get it looked at, and obviously it doesn't work out 100% of the time because we had that engine issue. But also it needs to pass emissions in our county to be registered, and if it doesn't pass emissions, it's basically a metal bucket. and you wasted a bunch of money. So that's how you get by on the engine code issue. But also, you probably want a clean title, which basically means it's never been in an accident, and it says here clean title. But basically, when somebody hands you the title paperwork, you want to see the title that it doesn't have anything called like branded or salvaged. If it does, that means it was in a big accident to where the car is worth much less of a figure of money and could have issues that weren't properly fixed. And also, sometimes it's hard to get insurance on it. Um, but basically, through my researches, I figured out I wanted something about a 2012 and newer, um, and below 160,000 miles. And we kind of came to the price point of, um, I think a lot of them were asking, here's one very similar to ours. They're asking over what we paid. We paid 8,700 for ours, and they want 10 grand, a little bit less mileage. Um, as you can see here, the older ones, they're 2005, 2008 with all the issues. They're pretty cheap. And so basically what we did was we went onto Kelley Blue Book to figure out how much money a car was worth on each one that we were interested in, and I'll try to do it very, very quickly. You can also gauge the market on the Facebook Marketplace and look at all the cars and see kind of what they're going for, but the 2012 Odyssey in our area was going for, I mean, we saw some vans that had a lot of issues with engine lights and everything, 5 grand, and then there was other cars that had all-wheel drive that were Toyotas for, I think, 9 grand. And so, like, if you look at them enough and you research enough, you'll kind of figure out your own price level, but it doesn't hurt. And this isn't my area code, but I'll just put it in anyways. This will help with bartering if the price is too high or if you're trying to get a good deal. So let's see. I thought it was going to give me a price, but it's not doing that. Do I have to do this? Building price? Looks like the website changed on me here. Sorry. Quickly do this. Let's just see if we can get past it really quick. And you can see what a dealer will pay, and they'll pay less than what a private party sale is. Let's do very good, because a dealer will usually give you like half of the value. So a lot of people end up, a little fun fact, a lot of people end up selling it private party because when they buy a new car at the dealership will give you, let's say 8,100 private sale. Now let's change it to a dealer. So remember, this number was 8,100. Oh, this is buying from a dealer. But as you can see, they're going to mark it up, but also give you less. So, poor example, but anyways, you can use this to your advantage on haggling with people and also like not paying too much money over market value. And so last year wasn't a very competitive year, but the last like 3, 4 years were very competitive and people paying over. So basically, cutting the chase, we found a couple of minivans that matched our price range and year and mileage, and we test drove them. And the first one was at, how can I say it? At like a no-name car dealership south of Salt Lake, and base a lot of those car dealerships that are just on the side of the road, they get their vehicles from car auctions, and so you never know what you're going to get from those, and they don't know either, and they're just there to turn and burn and sell the cars. And so we test drove a Toyota Sienna with all-wheel drive, and it was higher mileage, and we liked the all-wheel drive, but you could tell they just gave me the car keys after we gave them a license, I think, and you could just tell the all-wheel drive was about to give out, and that's why the car was put on the auction block. And they claim that they had no knowledge, but I find that very hard to believe. The next car we saw was another Honda Odyssey, and you could definitely tell it hadn't been moved in a year or two because the paint had like pine tree sap and pine tree needles in it. The windshield was cracked, the tires were old and like dry rotted with cracks on the like outside of the wheels. And I don't think it had current registration on it, if I remember. And he basically said, I'm just trying to get rid of it. And I think what else? There's something else wrong with it, but basically, you don't want to buy a car that's been sitting for a long time because the longer a car sits, the more issues with like gas, oil, the engine, the transmission, that kind of thing. And I think they were asking quite a bit for it. And then the third person that we met was in a city pretty close to us, and you could tell that they drove it a lot of highway miles. And when we met them, they let us do a test drive without them in the car or like seeing our license or whatever, which was kind of weird. And they were just really honest with everything. And I don't think they. I think I should have asked a better question on the timing um, belt question on what they all fixed, but it sounded like they fixed it and and they maintained the car well, so it seemed like a really good value on the car and a lot of highway miles. And so we did end up buying that car, and we haggled them down knowing that they told me that they were going to buy a new car. And I said, hey, look, I understand that you're going to get less money from the car dealership, and here's the going rate on Kelley Blue Book. This is what we feel comfortable at, and here's the reasons why it's not worth so much. And you just kind of say the things that detract from the value, like there's this dent here, there's water condensation in the headlights, um, the car's dirty, it needs to get cleaned. There's only one key, see if there's two keys, because a key might cost a couple $100, that kind of thing. Um, and so, lost my train of thought, but basically, and also asked them about the title, any accents, that kind of thing. Have they been maintaining it well? Are they currently driving it? And the lady said that she was driving it every day to work, which is a good sign that they're maintaining the car. And so we haggled with them over Facebook Marketplace, and they eventually came down to what we thought was a good price of $8,700. And we agreed to meet them. And also, if you haggle and get a good deal, you need to buy it like the same day or next day, because cars in our area actually turn and burn pretty quickly, especially if it's a good vehicle. Um, so let's see here. And then one other place, if you live in the Salt Lake area or Utah, KSL, and then there's a classifieds tab here, and you can sell vehicles. I sold a minivan that was a 2004 Chevy minivan this year, and I used KSL and Facebook Marketplace, but I also used my knowledge of buying to sell my vehicle, and I think Kelly Blue Book had it for 1,200 or 1,500, and I sold it for $2,000. And I basically, um, the secret is do a lot of photos, give a lot of details on the maintenance and how it's a one car owner, give all the information you can, and what the recent maintenance was on it, and that's how you can sell your car for the best dollar. It took a little bit. I think it took about 2 or 3 months to finally get somebody to pay that much. I had it listed for a little bit more, and nobody was interested. But it does take some time, and I've kept the posting up just to kind of see if people are interested, and it ebbs and flows. Like I won't hear anything for a month, and then 4 people message me and see if it's still available. So it kind of helps me gauge the market on whatever, selling more cars or car values at the time. I've noticed a lot of people lately say, "Well, you take $1,000 or 1,200 or whatever." So there's not a whole lot of money in the market. But going back to buying the car, we um, scheduled to meet them in the next day or two. I would recommend people not bringing cash, to only bring a cashier's check, because just in case something happens. Also, do it in a public place like a bank, or if you're the seller, you want cash or a cashier's check at the bank and cash the money before you give them the title and the keys. That's what I did. But make sure it's done in a public place, and if you're buying, try to do a cashier's check. And if you're selling, try to get cashier's check or money deposited before giving them the vehicle. It could be a fake cashier's check. It could be a fake $100 bills, that kind of thing. And then didn't really go into what you should look for in a car, but there's other YouTube videos to where there's like used car inspections for people to look at. But you definitely want to be somewhat car mechanically inclined if you're going to be looking. So you kind of need to, that'd probably be for another video or a video to watch on YouTube, for things to look at. But some things would be like check the engine oil, check for any drips, does it make weird noises, what do the tires look like? Like I was telling you in that one car, it needed new tires, it needed a new windshield. Tires on the van are like $200 a piece, 150. So you're almost talking $1,000 for tires and a windshield. So that stuff adds up quickly, and then you want to do emissions check before you buy the car, because if it doesn't pass the emissions, you can't drive it. So um, gave them a cashier's check at a bank on a Saturday, and um, had a buddy take me over to my house with me driving the new van, and that's how I got it. Um, and it was going really good until last week or last month, but that's okay because we kind of have to plan and prepare for things to happen um, with cars, especially if you buy a used one. So hopefully our repair is like a new engine for the car, and I hope that you guys have good luck either buying or selling your your vehicles, and try not to sell it to a dealership. Keep the money. It's going to take a little extra work, but try doing it yourself. Some of the people are going to drive you nuts, and um, all the questions and the test drives, but the first person that test drove my van that I sold for $2,000, they didn't even test drive it. Um, they just basically showed up and gave me the money. So I guess I was just lucky there, but they really needed a car. So there you go, guys. How to buy and sell a car on Facebook Marketplace. All right, have a good night. See ya.